that you have waited for so many years to get pregnant, and then you finally got pregnant. Not just that, you successfully navigated that pregnancy journey until you finally carried your bundle of joy, your baby, in your dear hands. But something happens and that child is taken away from you. In the very words of Sally, she said, "I have always desired to travel abroad and I chose the UK. I worked so hard and I sacrificed everything to travel with my kids for a better life. But my happy life turned into darkness from the day that my children were taken away from me." Now, this is just one of the many cases that many families are experiencing in the UK. And I'm sure it's not just in the UK, in Western countries, especially the big Western countries like the US and all of that. This is a problem that we all need to come on board and learn, because ignorance is not an excuse. In 2024, I think March 2024, there was a report that came out, and that report said there were 83,630 children in care in England, and that equated to approximately 1 in every 143 children. Notably, there has been a significant increase as well in newborn being taken away from them shortly after birth. In the year 2022 to 2023 period, nearly 3,000 newborn babies were subject to care proceedings, marking a 20% increase since 2012 and 2013. I'm going to put this report in the description below, and please try to read it. Like I say, this is an issue that is plaguing our community, and ignorance is not an excuse. We all need to jump on board. We all need to learn what we need to learn to make sure that we prevent this. Okay, so the big question that I will ask is, why are children being taken away from their parents? And some of the questions that I've heard people ask in the community is, do children's social services just come into our house and take our children away? Why do they seem so heartless? Why do they even interfere in my family matters? Oh yes, I've heard the question. Why do they come and interfere in my family matters? Why are they not listening to me and the challenges that I am facing with my children? Why are they targeting immigrants? That is a huge question. Many people are asking, why are they targeting immigrants? How can I discipline my child without being accused of abusing them? African parents. This is another huge question. These questions and many more, we are going to try and attempt. In fact, I said we're going to attempt to answer some of them today. But before we attempt to answer those questions, there is an education that we need to do. There is some information that we need to absorb. We need to learn certain things. So in this video, because of the vast information that we will cover on this particular topic around safeguarding children, I'm going to be doing a bite-sized video, okay? Just bite-sized video, so that we can be able to cover as many topics as possible. But please do subscribe, so that when we post these videos, you'll be the first to know. And please, we need to learn. We need to learn not just for ourselves. We need to learn and also teach our own families and friends, so that because we want to preserve our family unit. It is very, very important. So I interact with a lot of parents within my community, especially Black, Asian, and minority ethnic parents. Just like many of these parents, or just like myself, many of these parents immigrated to the UK. Some came with their children, and some had their children here in this country. My little boy is 14. I had him here in the UK. And there is something that we need to understand, because remember I said we want to learn so that we can prevent some of these things. We want to learn so that we can prevent our children being taken away from us, or learn to keep our family units together. Right. There is something called cultural diversity. Okay. And cultural diversity just means the presence of multiple cultural groups within a society. For example, the Black, Asian, and minority ethnic groups have their cultures, which may be different from the British culture. It is very, very important for us to know these things, because ignorance of these things are putting a lot of parents into trouble. Right. So these differences comprises of different beliefs, values, customs, behaviors, and traditions, which that and it is distinguished from one culture and another, right? A particular culture may be acceptable in another country, but it may not be acceptable in another country. For example, FGM, which is widely acceptable in most Asian and Black communities, that particular practice is not acceptable in the UK. Another example is beating a child may be seen as a form of discipline in some cultural societies, but it is seen as an abuse and unacceptable in the British society. Another example is not taking your child to their medical appointment or letting them to skip schools may be acceptable in other societies, but it may not be acceptable. In fact, it is not acceptable in the UK. These are just a few of the examples that we come across every day, or that we experience every day. Okay, so these differences in culture can sometimes result to what is called cultural shock. Cultural shock is the psychological and emotional response that people will experience when they encounter a culture that is different from their own culture. And it often occurs when individual moves into a new country, when they move into a new region, a new community, or even a new work environment. You know, there are different businesses or work environment that have different culture. You may move into one and you notice the way they are acting there is like, what? You know, so this is what is called cultural shock. So many people come into maybe in the UK and then they're seeing something that is happening which is different from where they come from, and at first maybe they may resist it. They may have that cultural shock, and sometimes they may not even believe, they may not even think that, oh no, there's something not right here, there's something wrong. I'll share with you a story. My first cultural shock that I had is when I came to the UK. I was working in McDonald's. My very first job was a customer service with McDonald's. And I remember the first day I came, and the employees were calling the manager by his name, his first name, without any title, no respect. They were just calling him Peter. And some were even calling him Pete, you know, short form for Peter. Pete, Peter here, Pete there, Peter here, Pete there. And I was like, why are these employees so disrespectful? It wasn't funny. I didn't find it funny at all. And it was so, in fact, the job was stressing me, not because the job was hard, but because I was struggling how to join in to call my manager by his name. Peter. No, where I come from, how dare you? You cannot call your manager, your boss, or your superior by his name. You need to put title in front, Mr. Peter, Mr. this, or you may put Mr. and then you put your surname. If it is a lady, you call Mrs. or Ma'am or Madam this. You cannot just call them by their name. It is absolute, it's a disrespect. So I struggled. Every day I went to work, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to call this man? How am I going to address this man? Until when I wanted to call him, I was saying, Mr. Peter, or sir, please, sir. He called me one day in the office and said, no. He said, be okay, feel free to call me by my name. Call me Peter or call me Pete. I'm not offended by it. So it was hard, but gradually, slowly, I started integrating in that new cultural setting. And finally, I was okay to call him by his name, you know. So these are some of the things that the cultural shocks that we experience when we come into a new society. We find it difficult to acknowledge or to recognize that things are done differently from the way it is done from where we are coming from, right? So I know that some of you would have had your own cultural shock. In this country or wherever you are, there must have been a cultural shock that you experienced. So drop it in the comment below. Let's read it. We might learn something, one or new things, right? So, right, it is very, very important that when we understand cultural differences, when we understand that things are done in a different way in every different society, then we are well informed of how to behave, right? So Understanding and navigating cultural differences is vital in fostering effective communication, in building healthy relationships, and in promoting cross-cultural understanding, and as well as protecting our children and protecting our family unit. You don't know what you don't know. Sometimes if we don't know it, we will act ignorantly, and things will happen. Not because we are bad people, not because we are bad parents, not because we are evil, we are irresponsible, or we are incapable of taking care of our children. It's just because we are ignorant and we've acted in a way that is not acceptable in a society. But sometimes it's very important as well, because if you don't know these things, you'll not be able to even know how to defend yourself or to stand and speak with confidence. So that is why it's very important. The second thing that you know these things, let's continue in the next video, because it gets even more interesting. I'll be sharing more information that will help you to make certain adjustments that will prevent your child from being taken away. So I hope you learned something from this video, and please, if you did, like and share. Remember, I said I'm going to be sharing bite-sized videos so that we together can learn, so that we can protect our children. We love our children. I don't feel that any parents will intentionally carry their baby in their womb for 9 years, the labor, they give birth to that child just to let that child be taken away. I don't think that is the intention of any parent. Circumstances happen, things will happen, challenges will happen, but that doesn't make many parents bad parents, So this is why it is very important for us to learn, so that we can educate ourselves, educate our friends and family, so that we can protect our children, because we love our children so dearly and we want them to stay with us. So guys, I will see you in the next video, because there are more juicy things that we're going to be sharing, tips and strategies that will help you in the next video. So thank you so much. I love you, and I'll see you later. Bye.